So, good afternoon, and welcome to today's edition of the virtual Advent calendar, which will be broadcast on Sunday, December 13th. I am visiting today with two clergy friends that I have come to know and love, and want to introduce you to them. Ask each of you to tell your name and what church you serve, and maybe tell us, what towns you have lived in so far.
Oh, wow.
Kayla, why don't you start?
All right. Well, I am Kayla Roosa. I currently serve Freeland United Methodist Church, which is, for those of you who may not know, is between Saginaw and Midland, almost smack dab in the middle. This is my fourth year of ministry there, and my first full-time appointment. But prior to this, I was serving Poseyville United Methodist Church on the south side of Midland, and finishing up seminary in Evanston, Illinois at Garrett Evangelical Theological Seminary. Finished the whole school because sometimes we like to cut it short. But prior to that, I served as a Christian ed director. Had a director of discipleship and family ministries was the actual title up in Coleman, where I did some youth ministry, and I served at Auburn UMC, which is where I got to know Miss Penny as the youth leader there. So, and I was born and raised in the area, actually, which grew up in Breckenridge, which I anticipate many don't know where that's at. So, but it's in the area. So,
All right, thank you, Jackie.
Well, I'm Jackie Raineri, and currently I'm serving the Clare United Methodist Church. Before that, I was in Downriver, which was outside of Taylor, the Taylor area. And it was a Downriver church, and I was there. And then before that, I was in Millville, which is by Stockbridge and Weberville and Williamston and Fowlerville and all that little area. And I was over in Weberville and Williamston area as well. Before that, it was my first appointment. I was at the Wisner Church, which is in Akron, Fairgrove, and that's where I met Penny before, right when she started into her ministry. We were almost neighbors, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah.
We were country neighbors, I guess, if that's which, as they say, it's right down the road a country mile, which is a lot longer. And before that, I was in Gladwin. I was teaching kindergarten. So I was having a fun time teaching kindergarten and living in an Amish farmhouse. So that's where I was before ministries all started. So that's my story.
Well, and as most people who are listening to this know, I started my ministry at Akron, at Fairgrove, and then it eventually included also Sutton Sunshine Church, which is just north and east of Carroll. And before that, I was a member attending Auburn United Methodist Church, as Kayla had said, that's where we met. And as people have heard from my call story, I've lived a whole lot of different places through my life. So but mostly I consider myself a Michigan woman. So, and there's something about that when you say I'm going to say a Michigan girl, and a lot of people take offense at, using the term girl, but there's something about being a Michigan girl. That means you can drive a car through a 1 foot snowdrifts, and you can do anything. You can leap tall buildings in a single bound. We are a Michigan girl. So, moving right along. Getting serious for a second, what has been the hardest thing so far this Advent season for your church members? Jackie, you want to start with that?
I would say not being able to gather together like they want to. And it was even before the Advent season. It's just, we were worshiping in house, and I just started at Clare July 1st, and they were already in house, but there was like no fellowship time. There was no there was no singing. There was just, it was basically just you hear the music and you heard my message, and that was about it. And people felt lost. And I think now with Advent and then having to go just virtual right now, the comment I keep hearing is, but this is a time I need church.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is the time I really need church. I need to see my friends. I need to see, and I need to see my family. And how many of us are like, trying to stay away from family members and that right now, just because we're trying to keep everyone safe, and we're doing it out of love, not out of spite by any means. And it's just it's hard. And even as I said, I just started July 1st, and I'm hearing from people it's hard because I don't even know who my pastor is. I haven't met my pastor yet because I haven't been able to come to church because my doctor says I can't, or I haven't been able to come to church because my kids say I shouldn't leave the house, and so it's just, I think that's really been a struggle for them.
Yeah. Kayla, has that been about the same as your experience?
Similar, yeah. We miss coffee hour and all the fellowship time and hugging people. Oh my goodness, I have a bunch of huggers in my congregation, and I am a hugger and a toucher and a feeler myself. So I get it. I feel it. I miss it. That we all miss it, and that in-person connection. We've created some pockets of ways for us to gather safely, like tomorrow as this gets played, we will have done some parking lot communion, so we'll have a little bit of connection time tomorrow, but no touching, and just passing the individual cups to people as they come receive at the parking lot, and drop gifts off as well for the Angel Tree or other families that we're supporting this season. I think the last couple of years, we also have done some form of programming with a nursing home in the community, and that's always been a highlight, partially because we have people whose parents are in those nursing homes in our community, and so it's a source of joy for them to bring their church, and that's not happening this year, and that's a big hole for some who may have lost their loved one this year as well. So all of those in-person activities are greatly missed. And what I think one of the things that resonated and hit a chord within me last week or the week before, and we're doing Zoom worship, and we were in person for 2 weeks, and had people test positive who were in the congregation on the prior Sunday as we were preparing for week 3, and we had to make a hard decision of stopping and doing what was right, just out of precaution, to make sure that people were safe, and that we didn't spread it any further. And so a couple weeks ago, one of the kids popped on, and at the end of worship, after I said the benediction, one of the young children said, "Pastor, is there a make and take Advent Christmas activity this year like we did last year?" And I was like, oh my gosh, like they're missing that contact too. The kids are missing it. And like interacting with kids on Sunday morning is not the same right now as what it is normally, and how much joy is lacking because of that in all of us. So
yeah, that's sure the truth. My folks are missing it as well, and to be able to be in person. We had done in person right up until the beginning of Advent, and so we decided to do virtual for the first 2 weeks, and then make a decision whether we'd continue on. But as it continued on through Advent, the spike kept going higher and higher, and then after the spike that they feared after Thanksgiving, it happened, and so we went ahead and decided to be virtual for the rest of the season. I'm still holding out for some kind of thing to do for Christmas Eve. I don't know what that's going to look like yet. We've gone ahead and scheduled, told people we're going to have 2 services in-house at 4 and 6, but that may change depending on, if it ends up being, we'll just have to reevaluate. There might be something we can do that's the better, easier. I don't know. What's been has there been one thing that's been particularly hard for you this particular season for you personally, Kayla?
Aside from being with people, and oh gosh, I feel like worship has become more of a performance, and where perfection is expected. And even if I'm pre-recording something, I feel the need to re-record until it's perfect and not just be in a worshipful attitude. I would also say, like, doing in-home visits I've missed greatly. And I know I shared with Penny after I left a visit that I did for somebody who is leaving this world, still hanging on, but working on that transition in his life much sooner than expected. But after I left the house all masked up, and I even had a heavier duty mask because I just didn't want, I know that they've had people in the house and don't want to take the risk. So the KN95 mask was on, and all the sanitizer, and that time felt so fulfilling, and probably the most fulfilled that I have felt pastorally all the way through the pandemic. Like, just to be able to walk with people in these, we're all grieving so much, but to be present in the grief, I've missed that because we haven't been present in the same ways with one another.
How about you, Jackie? Has there been any one particular thing that just...
It's just, well, being new at this appointment, and it's like getting to know all the people. And I'm sure, Penny, you probably have faced that as well. And it's like, you gotten to know some of the people, but it's like you haven't got to know the church.
Yeah. So,
going forward and trying to plan and everything else, it's like, it's hard to plan for those you haven't met yet. It's hard to, you wish you could somehow get out there or do what doing. And I had a committal the other day, and it wasn't even for a church member. I just got called like, hey, Jack, can you do this for, can you help us out at the funeral home? And it was like the family couldn't even come. And it was just kind of like, that's where we're at right now. And this is how it's, everything's becoming so impersonal. And like you said, Kayla, the hugging, the touching, just that, even sharing the message, it's like, I feed off of people's responses, and I need eye contact. I need the people, and I know even it's so hard even with mask on, but if I get a nod, or if I hear something, a chuckle or something, okay, I can keep on going. But I agree with you. It feels like we're doing more of a performance. And that's like, I was talking to friends of ours, family friends this morning, and I'm like, gosh, now we're worried about lighting, and we're worried about sound, and we're worried about, are you looking right? Are you looking in this way or that way? Or the people feeling, and it's like, I don't think any of us looked at going into ministry as being podcast stars or Zoom stars or virtual stars. I mean, that was far from the list that I had of ever thinking that I was going to be doing. But what a thing. Like, gosh, my double chin showing, is it okay? What angle do you got? And like, good grief, yes, I have pants on today, just to let you all know, because I was thinking about going with pajama bottoms, but I'm like going, okay, I'll put the jeans back on. Had to quick take a shower because you didn't want to see the grunge look beforehand. And it's like, I thought all of this was going into that. So that's a struggle too. And it's like, I just feel like it's like, oh my gosh, we have so many other things we have to worry about, think about, to present ourselves, to get the word out before people even look at it.
Yes. At least one of the big highlights of it is, while you're preaching, at least you don't have to wear the mask, because it's like for me, I'm doing it to an empty sanctuary, except for the tech guy who's in the back of the sanctuary, so I don't have to worry about wearing a mask. But it's like I'm imagining people in the pews, and I found myself looking over here and then looking over there and looking over there, and I thought, why am I doing this? Why don't I just look at the tech guy? That's where the camera is. That's where people are. That's where the people are.
But it's like, you have to like imagine it. And I do the same thing. It's like, I look over at different areas, like, because I know where people, some of the people are sitting. And so it's kind of like I'm looking over there hoping somebody, but you're watching like, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just saying, it's like watching, different arena events that are happening, like football, and you see the people, they stick the cardboard people in the stands, and you see there's jokes, people doing that for the pews, and it's like, I really think that would help me, because at least I got somebody looking at me, back at me, you know, even their stone face. Give me something, give me a sign, give me whatever it is, because it is so hard.
Oh, jeez.
It was so mechanic, you know what I mean? It was just, I don't know, maybe it's me, but that's the way
No.
It was also a layer of weird when we did go into in-person. We had Zoom going simultaneously with the in-person, plus we had parking lot worship going on at the same time.
Wow.
So it was like trying to figure out how to be present in person, present online, and present in the parking lot was this whole other thing I never imagined in seminary. And like,
yeah.
there's no training for that. There
They
really
don't train you that in seminary, do they?
no, and they don't teach you about soundboards and lighting and all of those things that like we're having to figure out these days. So it's challenging.
It's like that old William Holden movie with about Norma Desmond. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. DeMille.
Yeah.
You know, Kayla's too young. Yeah, it's too young to know.
Right over my head, girl.
Oh, rub it in, Kayla.
Yeah.
It's all right. I'll just hang on to my llama sweater
There you go. Go hang out with your llama.
and my
But don't
knee.
you feel also with all of this that like you feel like you have to outdo the other one? Have you felt that anxiety yet?
You mean
Like
the previous service?
Well, not that, like other pastors, like you watch Facebook and you're going on and seeing,
yes.
you're like, oh my gosh, they're doing this and this and this and this. And it's like, here I am sitting there in front of the computer talking to you. And it's just like, I was having anxiety issues. I mean, I really did in the beginning of this, because it was like, how do you one up it? How do you know, I was in a situation in my last church where no one would come into the church to record me. No one would do anything. And it was like my son, who wasn't involved in any of this, but thank goodness he knows computers because that's his career. He was trying to he was inside my computer editing what I'm doing, and then I'm passing it on to someone else to get it out on Facebook. But I was like, I felt anxiety from it. And I can't even imagine, you know, that was really a hard time. You know, it was like, I felt like we were like not working together, but working against each other. And, you know, and I don't know if that makes sense, but it felt that way for a long time for me. So I'm glad we could do something like this. This is awesome.
Yeah. And what ended up happening is we looked at that things closing down. That's exactly what ended up happening when I started seeing what other people were doing at their churches and thinking, well, geez, we should do something. I mean, people aren't having contact. And so, well, you know, we could do these gift bags. I've heard people are doing gift bags. And so
right.
we hurried, rushed, and got that. And my poor administrative assistant, oh my God, she was just scrambling like crazy, trying to help get all the stuff together and put labels on the bags. And then people did volunteer to deliver them. And so it had the good effect. You know, it was the effect that we wanted. Right. People knew that their church cared. But, you know, but I felt like it was something that we had to kind of step up to do at the last minute. And it's kind of how this Advent calendar thing, I kept thinking, how can we stay in touch? I know. Right. People are looking at these Advent calendars. Why don't we do a virtual one?
That's a great idea. Good for you.
Great idea.
It's a good idea.
Your district has like latched onto that too, Penny, because I've seen a couple of other people who have like jumped on board with that.
Really? Oh, good
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, that is good.
I saw Matt is doing one too, I think.
Is he? Oh, cool.
So yeah.
Good. Well, so tell me, in the midst of all this craziness and trying to figure out how to do ministry in a time of kind of bleak times, how are you personally able to find the joy and the hope?
Conversely to what you two have discussed with the comparison, I let the comparison go a long time ago. That's probably also the joy of being like, this is my 4th year at this congregation. So they know that I'm doing what I can with what I have. So I've had to wrestle with that internal struggle. And I found that letting go of that brings me great joy.
I
also have found that This season, this year especially, I don't know if it's because of what our community has been through in Freeland with the flooding in the area, the generosity that people have. And I think because of the pandemic, people's generosity is like people are looking for opportunities to give and be a part of something bigger than themselves. So that's been really inspiring. I mean, we did all of our angel tree tags really, I think, quickly this year, given the pandemic even, and just overwhelmed with the beautiful things that people brought back for that. But then to have other people reach out to me and say, hey, do you know of anyone else in our community who needs support? And then have to go like find somebody to like go bless. So that's been great. Finding joy and hope in my quiet time with God, with the Bible, and my coffee or tea in the morning, and or the evenings, depending on how quickly that gets done in the day, because sometimes it gets bumped to the evening, and it is what it is. That happens for all of us, right? And I'll also say, like, the colleagues that are pulling together to do stuff. One of the things I did yesterday on what normally would be my day off, but pandemic days off don't really happen these days, because I'm like the one lady show, and not fully one lady, but I do all of the camera work. So I recorded with the musician yesterday, and one of the other things I did was record me reading scripture and stumbling over the words and then restarting all over again because, you know, perfection, right? So that continues to be a struggle. However, preparing readings for the Extraordinary Connection Blue Christmas service that we're doing. So finding joy in the connectionalism that we do have and celebrate in the midst of these difficult times in a new way. We have friends who are doing stuff throughout the state that are very connectional, and that's really cool. So I will share that with both of you. We're going to do the Blue Christmas service on the 21st. I think it's getting released at 7 p.m. So it'll be a digital experience. If you're not doing something like that for your congregations, you all are welcome to take it and use it and be blessed by it yourselves. This season of loss and pain and grief that we all are wandering in our own ways, whether we've lost somebody personally or people in our congregations, or just, you know, losing so much this year. Hopefully it will bring some peace and comfort to those who are in the midst of that. So and then the other joy is that we're celebrating 175 years of ministry next year at Freeland. Wow. And so that's like overwhelming and exciting, and having all of these plans for all of these like great things that we want to do. And, you know, how do we still do that in the midst of a pandemic? But we're still going to do it and have fun with it. And come on, joy, let's bring it forth.
Good. Oh, so Jackie, how are you finding hope and joy?
I'm finding it, well, like after we record, I was sharing with you beforehand that a group of us go out and we sing a Christmas carol to the shut-ins, those that we know that aren't able to see us virtually. And it's also a good way, and I offer a Christmas blessing, and we just, it's a good way for me to meet those who are shut in, and it's, you know, social distance, and a lot of times they don't come outside, they just, you know, call out from their screen door, or some do come out on their porch. The first week we went out was beautiful. It was like almost 60 degrees out, so it was a great day. You know, we'll sing some Christmas songs out here. So last week is a little chilly, and I think tomorrow's going to be like really bad since we've got all the snow in our area. But that is a joyful time. It's a good time to just to get out and ride around and kind of see some of the areas and see where people live, and it's helpful for me. But also what brings a lot of joy is just connecting with friends, and you know pastoral friends and pastor friends, I should say, and then, you know, even just family friends, and just getting connected with people, and staying connected, and just kind of just talking. You know, we do a family Zoom. You know, we try to do it once a week or every other week, and that's really been it's been good. It's good for my mom, especially because we lost my dad in April, so this is our first Christmas without dad, and just kind of keeping everybody, my nephews out of state, my nieces at college, and my son's down in the Detroit area, and so it's kind of bringing us all together on Sunday evenings, and it's cool. as they can be. You know, the kids are, even though they're in their 20s, it's still fun. It's a fun
Yeah.
thing to see what they're doing, you know. And my nephew's either out and about with his friends or he's doing something. So we're meeting friends from North Carolina and we're doing whatever. But yeah, so we're just doing, you know, it's just that kind of thing that's just giving me that hope and that, and just again, just getting acquainted to the area and meeting the different people here. So it's good.
Good. You mentioned singing carols. One of the couples in my church has arranged for us to do some caroling up at the nursing home just up the street from the
Oh,
church.
nice.
We're going to do that a week from Monday, the 21st. And that should be good. I'm looking forward to getting together with however many we can get to do that. I've been going back through past sermons and just to see, you know, what have I said in the past that brings, you know, a message of hope for others, you know, and I got to thinking that I've been so focused on how can I bring joy and hope to others, and it hit me today that technically I'm not responsible for doing that. That's what Jesus did when he came, you know, and it's
Yep.
need to rethink the focus here. I don't need to have that pressure on me. I need to remind myself to be joyful and hopeful because our Savior has come. And so so that has been kind of one of those epiphanies that I had today, finally, that wondering, all right, where's the joy? Where's the joy? Why am I not finding it? Oh, duh. It's happening, and hopefully that as a congregation will, or all of our congregations, as we look towards doing Christmas differently this year. And that's all it is. It's still Christmas. It's just going to be a little different. And it'll never be like this way again. But every year is different. And so, and it's kind of, let's step back and look at this, how it really is. It's just, Christmas is still here. It's just going to be different. You know, I'm really so glad to be able to get together with you two and to be able to chit chat and catch up and hear what you all are up to. And thank you so much for sharing this. And for those of you who have been watching and listening, thank you for continuing to pay attention to the virtual Advent calendar. Stay tuned. We've got more coming. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.